Hey there, RosterWatch Nation. It's your friendly neighborhood Trashman, and this is the Garbage Grab. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 of my favorite tight end deep sleepers in drafts right now. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, with Jonnusmith of the Titans. It's absurd to think that Delanie Walker's direct replacement is the 17th tight end being drafted right now, especially when he's the athletic specimen that Jonnusmith is. Walker averaged over 100 targets and 800 yards in his last 4 healthy seasons as a Titan. And while Ryan Fitzpatrick may not be quite as reliant upon Smith as Marcus Mariota was on Walker, Smith could easily end up second on the team in targets behind A.J. Brown. He could end up first on the team in targets ahead of A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown actually didn't get that many targets in his rookie season. So Jonnusmith's value is immense, and you're not taking much of a risk in taking him where you can get him. Speaking about not taking a risk, the 2020 RosterWatch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet is available now at rosterwatch.com. The revolutionary cheat sheet that changed fantasy football forever is back only at rosterwatch.com. The RosterWatch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet, all you have to do is follow the 3 simple rules. That's it, 3 rules. It couldn't be easier. An expert quality fantasy football draft is guaranteed. The RosterWatch Ultimate Draft Cheat Sheet only at rosterwatch.com. After Jonnusmith, I have Jack Doyle of the Colts. Doyle didn't have quite the year one might expect from him in 2019. 43 receptions, 448 yards, 4 touchdowns, especially considering he played in all 16 games. But new quarterback Philip Rivers does love throwing to his tight ends, or shot putting to his tight ends, as I like to refer to it. As we know from his time as a Charger, Doyle could see close to 100 targets this season as the Colts' go-to tight end now that Eric Ebron is no longer a Colt. Yes, Indianapolis did add Trey Burton to the mix, but he projects to be a complement to Doyle, not a replacement. And Mo Alley Cox will start the season on the physically unable to perform list, so I'm not really worried about him. I think Doyle represents a lot of value in fantasy leagues this season. After Doyle, I have Chris Herndon of the Jets. Herndon should have had his breakout last season, but injuries and an ill-timed suspension limited him to just 1 game. A league leader in air yards in 2018, Herndon has tons of upside in an offense that has 2 new additions on the outside in Brashad Perriman and Denzel Mims. And while I love Mims, the Jets, all football teams, all NFL teams have a shortened offseason and a non-existent preseason. So that means that Herndon and Jamison Crowder are the only 2 starters who have experience with quarterback Sam Darnold. So expect him to lean on them early and often. I really like Chris Herndon this season. After Herndon, I have Jacesternberger of the Packers. Sternberger stepping in for Jimmy Graham, who ended up 3rd in targets for the Packers in 2019 with 72. The Packers are projected to play a lot of 12 personnel this season, so that means Sternberger will be on the field for most, if not all, offensive snaps. Devin Funchess has been added to the mix, presumably as the starting receiver opposite Devontae Adams, so he could challenge Sternberger for targets, but the former Aggie standout can be had so late in drafts that he's not really at risk, and he could end up being the 2nd most targeted player on this team this season. Sternberger's upside in an Aaron Rodgers-led offense is well worth the late-round flyer you're going to take on Sternberger. Last but not least, I have willdissly of the Seahawks. Yes, I'm well aware that Greg Olsen is now a Seahawk and that Dissly went down to an Achilles injury last November and was questionable to start this season. I'm also aware that Dissly is on track to be ready come week 1 and that the shortened offseason and no preseason benefits the guy who has been the go-to in the past more so than the guy who is coming into a new situation. You also have to consider that Olsen is 35 now and has 1 foot in the commentator's booth anyway. And let's not forget that Dissly was tight end 5 through 5 weeks last season. So he's got major upside. He may end up a wash, but Dissly's upside and the fact that you can literally take him with your final pick in your draft make him deep sleeper material, and I like the sound of that as a Trashman. Anyway, those are my 5 favorite tight end sleepers right now. I guess you could argue for Eric Ebron. And as a Pittsburgh Steeler right now, he's someone else to consider in the later rounds of the drafts, considering the potential upside there. And they don't, well, actually, that's not true. Chase Claypool will be a red zone target for the Steelers there, in addition to Ebron. Was one of the reasons I didn't add him to this top 5. Anyway, that's it for the Trashman. That's it for the garbage grab, or at least this installment of it. On behalf of RosterWatch.com, this is the Trashman. Until next time, be ready.